You may not notice it right away, not waking up one day to skin that has clearly deteriorated. Just a very ordinary morning, when you look in the mirror and realize your face no longer holds the same sense of lift it once did. It's not exactly more wrinkles, not exactly worse skin, just everything feels a bit softer, slower, heavier. And the most natural reaction many women have is, maybe I need another product. Maybe I haven't been taking good enough care. Maybe I've neglected something. But today, before we talk about any solution, I want you to pause on one very important thing. Your face didn't change because you didn't try hard enough. It changed because a woman's body after 60 has shifted into a different operating system. And very few people have ever explained this clearly to you. In this video, we're going to look together at why facial sagging can still happen, even when you take very consistent care of your skin, and what the hormone mistake is that has quietly led many women down the wrong path for years. If you're watching this video and you're over 60, please leave a comment below, simply saying, "I'm here, so I know you're not watching this alone." And if this kind of gentle, non-pressuring content is helping you understand your body more clearly, please subscribe to Woman Over 60 Secrets, so we can move together toward the milestone of 100,000 subscribers. Every subscription from you is a way for these kind, honest conversations to continue and to reach more women who are quietly going through the same changes as you. When hormones are mentioned, many women over 60 immediately think of things that feel distant or intimidating: hormone therapy, medications, or complex medical decisions. But the hormone mistake we're talking about in this video is not about whether you use hormones or not. It's something far more subtle. The mistake is this: continuing to care for your skin as if your body was still operating exactly the same way it did in your 50s. When a woman is younger, her body is strongly guided by estrogen. This hormone isn't only about reproduction. It acts like a priority signal sent throughout the body, saying, skin, hair, connective tissue, these matter. Invest in them. Because of that signal, the skin has a fairly strong ability to recover. Even if sleep isn't perfect, or stress comes and goes, the body still tries to compensate. Collagen is still produced. Elasticity is maintained at an acceptable level. But after menopause, estrogen levels drop significantly. And this is the key point that very few people explain clearly to women. The body hasn't broken. It has simply changed how it allocates resources. After 60, the body prioritizes what supports long-term survival: the heart, the bones and joints, the brain, metabolism. The skin, even though it's deeply tied to confidence and emotion, no longer sits at the top of the priority list. So even if you still apply cream regularly, still moisturize carefully, still use products that once worked very well for you, you may start to notice something familiar. Your skin is still smooth, but your face no longer feels as supported as it once did. That's not because the products aren't strong enough. And it's not because you did something wrong. It's because the internal hormone signals have changed, while the external care hasn't yet adjusted to match. Understanding this is the first step, and the most important one, to stopping the self-blame and beginning to care for your face in a way that your body after 60 truly needs. After understanding that a woman's body after 60 operates under a different system, a very natural question comes next. Why is it that, even with careful and consistent skincare, the face still changes in the direction of sagging? This doesn't happen suddenly. It unfolds very slowly, very quietly, to the point that many women only notice it when looking back at old photos or when facing the mirror in a very still, quiet moment. First, we need to talk about collagen. Collagen isn't just what makes skin feel smoother to the touch. It is the internal support framework, like invisible cords that hold the face in its familiar structure and shape. In the first years after menopause, collagen levels in the body decline much faster than before. As this framework weakens, the skin is no longer suspended as firmly as it once was, and the sensation of softness, heaviness, and sagging begins to appear, especially in the cheeks and along the jawline. What's important is this: collagen doesn't only decrease in quantity, it also decreases in quality. The new collagen fibers produced after 60 are no longer as thick or as elastic as they were when you were younger. So even if the surface of the skin improves somewhat with moisturizers or serums, the underlying support structure continues to weaken over time. Alongside this is a change in the skin's natural moisture. Estrogen once helped the skin retain water and lipids quite effectively. When this hormone declines, the skin becomes drier, more easily tight, and slower to recover after a long day. Many women describe this feeling very accurately. The skin isn't exactly bad, but there's always something missing, as if the skin is no longer being nourished from within the way it used to be. And here is a point that many people overlook. Sagging doesn't exist only at the surface of the skin. The face is supported by multiple layers underneath, from connective tissue and fat pads to muscle tone. After 60, these layers also change in their own ways. When overall support declines, focusing only on surface skincare can no longer create the firm, lifted feeling you once had. That's why so many women tell me the same thing. My skin is smoother, my tone is more even, but my face still doesn't truly feel lifted. This is not a failure of skincare. It's a signal that the body is asking for a different approach, one that fits the stage after 60. Another factor that is often underestimated is nighttime recovery. When you're younger, even a fairly decent night's sleep can allow the skin to repair itself to some extent. But after 60, sleep doesn't just need to be long enough. It needs to be deep enough and stable enough. If sleep is fragmented, the repair of the support structure becomes weaker and the face is more likely to look tired in the morning, even if you don't feel sleep-deprived. In addition, the body after 60 tends to prioritize energy for vital systems. During prolonged stress, or when blood sugar fluctuates, the body has even less capacity to invest in the skin. At that point, collagen is no longer a priority, but something that gets reduced first. All of these factors together create a picture that is very different from what we were used to in our 40s or 50s. The face doesn't sag because you did something wrong. It changes because the entire internal support system is gradually operating on a different rhythm, slower and more conservative. At this point, I'd like you to pause for a moment. If what I've just shared makes you nod and think, yes, this is exactly what I'm experiencing, please comment number 1 below. And if you feel your face hasn't changed much yet, but you want to understand this early so you don't go in the wrong direction later, please comment number 0. Your comments don't just help me understand you better, they also help many other women realize that they are not alone in these quiet, gradual changes. Many women only truly start paying attention to their face when sagging has already become obvious. But in reality, the body sends signals much earlier. We simply were never taught how to recognize those signals. After 60, noticing these changes early is far more important than trying to fix things once they've become clearly visible. The first sign is not found in wrinkles, but in the overall expression of the face. You may be getting enough sleep, not staying up late, not feeling especially stressed. Yet when you look in the mirror in the morning, your face still looks more tired than before, lacking that sense of freshness and natural lift. This is a sign that nighttime recovery is no longer happening as strongly as it did when hormones were more stable. The second sign is that the jawline gradually becomes less defined. Many women notice this while applying makeup or when looking at their profile in the mirror. It's not obvious sagging, but rather a feeling that the contours no longer hold their shape. This is often related to the decline in collagen and underlying support tone beneath the skin. The third sign is a heavier feeling in the lower cheeks. Not exactly swelling, not exactly puffiness, just a sense that the face no longer feels as light as it once did. This is one of the most typical signs of hormonal changes after menopause, when the support structure is no longer evenly distributed. The fourth sign is that the skin becomes thinner and more sensitive. Products that once worked perfectly well now make the skin feel dry, tight, or even slightly sting. This indicates that the skin's protective barrier has weakened, and the skin can no longer tolerate strong stimuli the way it used to. And the fifth sign, which surprises many women, is that makeup no longer sets the way it used to. Foundation slips more easily, settles into small lines, and the face looks less seamless overall. This isn't because you've gotten worse at applying makeup. but because the skin's structure and moisture have changed along with hormones. What's important to emphasize here is this. Not every woman over 60 experiences all of these signs. Some may notice only one or two, but when even two of these signs appear together, they are already a reminder that the body is asking for a different approach to care, one that's more appropriate for this stage of life. Recognizing these changes early is not meant to cause worry. It allows you to adjust gently at the right time before the face changes too much and begins to affect your confidence. And if, as you hear these signs, you realize you've noticed at least two of them before, please hold that awareness with you as we move into the next part, where I'll explain clearly why so many women over 60 have unintentionally cared for their skin too aggressively and how that can actually cause the face to sag faster without them realizing it. When they begin to notice changes in their face, many women have a very natural reflex to try to do more. More products, more steps, stronger active ingredients. But after 60, this often leads to the opposite result. The first common mistake is using products that are too strong for what the skin can tolerate. Many women believe that when the face starts to sag, they need something more aggressive to lift it. They increase retinol frequency, use acids more often, cleanse more thoroughly out of fear that the skin isn't absorbing nutrients. But skin, after 60, no longer responds the way it once did. When the protective barrier has weakened, strong stimulation doesn't make the skin firmer. It makes it tighter, drier, and more prone to inflammation. And in that state, the body becomes even less willing to invest in repairing the internal support structure. As a result, the face doesn't feel more lifted. It actually becomes softer and sags faster. The second mistake is changing too many things at the same time. A new serum today, a different moisturizer next week, then adding another treatment because someone said it works wonders. The skin doesn't have enough time to adapt, and the body can't recognize any stable signal to begin recovery. After 60, what the skin needs most isn't constant stimulation, but consistency and safety. When everything changes too quickly, the body shifts into a defensive mode, instead of investing in long-term repair processes, like collagen production and elasticity. The third mistake is believing that simply adding more will fix the problem. More collagen, more vitamins, more lifting serums. But if the body isn't in a state where it can allocate those materials to the skin, then adding more is like pouring water into a system where the valve is closed. What very few people explain clearly is this. After 60, the issue isn't a lack of nutrients, it's that the body no longer distributes them to the skin the way it once did. And when that isn't addressed, all external efforts can only bring very limited improvement. The fourth mistake is unintentionally adding more stress to the skin through daily habits. Irregular sleep, unstable eating patterns, prolonged stress. All of these keep the body in a constant state of having to prioritize something else. In that state, the skin is no longer an area the body invests in. And many women end up stuck in a familiar loop. The more they worry, the more they do, the more they feel their face isn't improving as expected. What I want you to understand here is this. These mistakes don't come from neglect. They come from a very understandable desire to preserve your face for as long as possible. Unfortunately, that approach is no longer aligned with how the body operates after 60. At this point, I want you to ask yourself one very honest question. What is confusing you the most about your face right now? If it's your jawline becoming less defined, comment jawline. If it's heavy cheeks that seem to pull downward, comment cheeks. If you feel your skin is thin, dry, and difficult to care for, comment thin skin. And if you feel you're doing a lot but don't know what actually matters most anymore, comment confused. I read every single comment you leave, and your sharing helps me guide the next parts of this video more accurately, more gently, and more in line with what you truly need at this stage of your life. After clearly seeing the very common mistakes in skincare after 60, the biggest question right now is likely this. So what is the right direction? The answer doesn't lie in doing more, but in doing what aligns with how the body is currently operating. After 60, the skin is no longer an independent system. It directly reflects the body's internal state. That's why the most effective strategy is not trying to pull the face from the outside, but creating the conditions that allow the body to support the skin from within. The first thing to adjust is how we approach daily skincare. After 60, the skin no longer responds well to intensity. It needs stability, gentleness, and consistency. Cleanse just enough, without over-cleansing. Moisturize with a focus on repairing the skin barrier, helping the skin retain water and natural lipids. Fewer layers, but used consistently. When the skin feels safe, the body begins to open the door to deeper repair processes. Alongside skincare, there are 3 very important signals that help the body allow collagen to be allocated back to the skin. The first signal is a stable circadian rhythm. After 60, the body no longer adapts well to irregular sleep-wake patterns. When you go to bed and wake up, at relatively consistent times, the nervous system gradually senses safety. And in that state of safety, long-term repair processes have a chance to occur. It's not about sleeping many hours, but about sleeping regularly and deeply. The second signal is providing the right building materials. Collagen doesn't appear out of thin air. It requires protein, vitamin C from natural foods, and a digestive system that functions steadily to absorb nutrients well. After 60, eating too little protein or eating erratically forces the body to prioritize other demands, and collagen, once again, falls off the priority list. A breakfast with moderate protein, a well-balanced lunch, and a lighter dinner often work better than extreme or restrictive diets. The third signal is regular movement, especially light resistance exercise. Many women believe skincare is only about cosmetics, but in reality, when the body moves gently, circulation improves, and regenerative signals are activated more effectively. There's no need for intense workouts, no need to push to exhaustion. Regular walking, combined with a few light strength movements, is enough to send the message that the body is still being used and still worth investing in. Along with creating positive signals, it's also important to be aware of factors that quietly accelerate facial sagging if left unaddressed. Refined sugar and sweets cause unstable blood sugar swings, keeping the body in a constant state of emergency response. In that state, collagen cannot be prioritized. Prolonged sun exposure damages the existing collagen framework. Sun protection isn't about anti-aging, but about preserving what the body is still able to maintain. And finally, chronic stress. When the mind is constantly tense, the nervous system never truly settles. And when the nervous system isn't calm, the body won't invest in long-term repair tasks like skin or facial support structures. The most important thing I want you to remember from this section is this. After 60, the face doesn't need stronger solutions. It needs the right signals, delivered consistently. When the body senses safety, stability, and proper nourishment, the skin will gradually respond in its own way, quietly, without sudden changes, but enough for many women to notice that their face feels less soft, less sagging, and more harmonious for longer than before. In the next part, we'll talk about a topic many women are curious about, but often hesitate to bring up: hormones and medical options after menopause, how to understand them, and how to approach them without unnecessary worry or pressure. When it comes to hormones after menopause, many women feel confused. Some hear that hormones can help improve the skin, others worry about the risks, and some choose to avoid the topic altogether because they don't know what to trust. What I want to clarify here is this: there is no single right choice for everyone. Hormones, including hormone replacement therapy, are a very personal decision. They depend on health history, the severity of symptoms, and each woman's individual experience. For some women, hormones may help improve certain aspects such as skin moisture or elasticity, but for others, those benefits may not be significant enough when weighed against other considerations. What's important to understand is this: caring for your face after 60 does not require going down the hormone route. Many women are still able to maintain facial balance and stability by adjusting their lifestyle, daily rhythms, and skincare approach to better match the body's current stage. If you've ever considered hormones, the best step isn't deciding on your own, but having an open conversation with your doctor, not to chase a solution, but to understand where your body is and what option is safest and most appropriate for you. And if you choose not to use hormones, that is completely okay. The face doesn't reflect hormones alone. It reflects how the body is rested, nourished, and treated with kindness each day. The most important thing is this: understand so you don't feel afraid, know so you don't blame yourself, and choose calmly, without pressure, without comparison, and without chasing any standard that doesn't truly belong to you. Before leaving this video, I want you to remember something truly important. After 60, the face doesn't need to look younger to be considered healthy. What matters more is the sense of harmony between your body and what you see in the mirror. Your face changes, not because you've neglected it, but because your body is moving into a different rhythm, slower, more conservative, and in need of deeper listening. If this video helps you better understand why your face is changing, or helps you stop blaming yourself, even just a little, please tap like to support the channel. And if you know a friend, a sister, or a loved one who feels confused about changes after 60, please share this video with them. Finally, if you'd like to continue receiving gentle, science-based content created especially for women over 60, please subscribe to the Woman Over 60 Secrets channel. Your presence is what allows this channel to keep sharing these kind messages with more women every day.